My name is Megan Sullivan, the Low Income Taxpayer Clinic Director at the Legal Aid Society of Columbus. I'm going to talk in this video about reconciling your 2021 stimulus credit. So this is for those people who didn't get the full amount of the credit or are wondering if they didn't get the right amount of credit in 2021 for that third stimulus payment. Eligibility to claim the Recovery Rebate Credit changed between the 2020 credits and the 2021 credits. To claim the Recovery Rebate Credit for 2021, the following must be true. You and your spouse, if you're filing a joint return, must be U.S. citizens or residents. You or someone on your return must have a valid Social Security number. You can't be eligible to be claimed as a dependent on someone else's 2021 tax return. We do have a video, what does it mean to qualify to be claimed as a dependent? And you can link to that from our website. And for the full credit, your income must be below $75,000 if you're single or married filing separately, $112,500 if you are filing as head of household, and $150,000 if you are married filing jointly. So what if you received a portion of the Recovery Rebate Credit, but not all of it? You're going to need to reconcile the credit. Reconciling the credit will involve figuring out the amount of credit you should have received and subtracting the advanced credit you did receive to come up with the amount of the rebate credit you're going to claim on your 2020 tax return. I'm going to use a small scenario to illustrate the reconciliation of the 2021 economic impact payment. Kevin is a single father of 3 children who've lived with him since their births, all before 2021. They all qualify as his dependents and no one else can claim them. He claimed them all in his 2020 tax return and received the economic impact payment in March of 21 in the amount of $5,600. That was $1,400 for all 4 of them. Kevin's sister Angela, age 22, moved in with him in December of 2020 and lived with him for all of 2021. Angela didn't file a 2019 or 20 tax return and didn't receive the stimulus payment. Kevin's 2021 income was $71,200. If you recall from the previous example, Kevin's children were all claimed on his 2020 return, so he received the third economic impact payment for them and for himself. However, his sister, who moved in at the end of 2020, didn't qualify as his dependent for that year, so he wants to claim the Recovery Rebate Credit for her in 2021. So we'll go through the Recovery Rebate Credit worksheet for him to claim her. Can he be claimed as a dependent on another person's 2021 tax return? He can't. Does his 2021 return include a Social Security number that was issued before the due date of his return? No, it hasn't. So he gets to skip to line 5. So line 5 asks if Kevin has any dependents listed in the dependents section on page 1 of Form 1040, and for whom he entered a Social Security number that was issued on or before the due date of this return. The answer is yes. The instructions say to enter 0 on line 6 and go to line 7. I am going to guess that this is actually a typo by the IRS, and that will be changed by the time that the filing season opens. So I have gone ahead and followed the instructions on line 6 and entered $1,400 because Kevin is a head of household filer. On line 7, we're to multiply 1,400 by the number of dependents listed in the dependents section on page 1. So he would have listed his youngest child, his twins, and his sister as dependents on that page, and we are multiplying 1,400 then by 4, reaching $5,600. When we add them together, $7,000 is the number for line 8. On line 9, we look at Kevin's adjusted gross income from line 11 on Form 1040. We compare that to the head of household threshold here of $112,500. Because the amount on his adjusted gross income is less than the threshold amount listed here, we can answer no and carry over the amount from line 8, which is the amount of economic impact payment that he should have been paid in 2021, or at least that he was eligible for in 2021. Also, because his income is less than the threshold amount, we can skip lines 10, 11, and 12, which are designed to figure out how to discount the credit if your income is above those threshold amounts listed under line 9. We get to skip forward to line number 13, where you list the amount of the economic impact payment that was listed to you. Kevin gets to list $5,600. Just a note that the IRS will issue a letter 6475 listing the amount that they have in their records that they paid out to you. Use the amount in that letter on this form when you're determining your recovery rebate credit, or ask your tax preparer to use that number. If that number is actually different than your records, amend your return later to make sure your return is correct. But for this initial filing, it is a better idea to use the number that the IRS has listed, just to prevent processing delays of your entire return. The recovery rebate credit is the difference between the amount that was paid out and the amount that you are eligible for. So in this case, it was $1,400. If you report a recovery rebate credit on your 2020 Form 1040 and the IRS disagrees, they will issue a notice that is referred to as a math error notice. That's not going to be in the title. It'll most likely explain that you've made a mistake on your return, and they'll propose an amount due or a reduction in your refund. If you don't object to the notice within 60 days of the date on the notice, the proposed amount will be assessed against you, or the refund will be adjusted accordingly, and you'll receive a bill or a lower refund. It's really important that you respond to the notice within 60 days if you disagree with it. To respond to the notice from the IRS, you should send a letter within 60 days of the date on the notice you receive. Note, that's not the date that you receive it, it's the date on the notice. Include in the letter a statement to the effect of, I disagree with the attached notice, I don't think I owe any tax, or I am due the full refund I claimed, something like that. Sign and date the notice. You can include more detail, but definitely include that you're specifically disagreeing with the attached notice. Include the notice number. Send this letter and a copy of the notice you received to the IRS via certified mail with proof of mailing that's date stamped by the clerk at the United States Post Office. Make a copy of the letter and the certified mailing slip for your records. Also take pictures of the letter that you send, the notice, and the date stamped mailing slip. Be careful if you share your pictures with others that your social security number and other personal identifying information is removed from the top of the notice especially. And then contact your local low-income taxpayer clinic to help. Thanks for listening. To contact a low-income taxpayer clinic in Ohio, we have a listing of the low-income taxpayer clinics in the counties that they cover. If your county is not listed, or if you are outside of the state of Ohio, follow the link that I list there on the Taxpayer Advocates website, where you can find your local LITC by